I said before that the only way to escape the pain of feeling like there's something wrong with us or being less than human as someone with toxic shame, the only way to escape the pain of that is to try to become superhuman. I feel less than human, so I'm going to try to be superhuman. That's why most businessmen and women that are really successful are deeply insecure, because what drove the success was insecurity. Their life's not better with all that. That's why so many celebrities are successful. And it's not that they're all bad, though they're inherently wrong or they're bad at all. It's just that they're not coming from a place of love with a lot of their pursuit. A lot of the thing that drives celebrities' pursuits is to be a somebody, to be seen, to be understood, to be recognized, because they feel unseen, misunderstood, and unrecognized. They feel worse than, they don't feel like they belong. So they try to compensate of feeling less than human by being more than human and be the best in the world, famous. Everyone's going to see me. Then what happens when they get to the top? They end up addicted to drugs. They end up in all these dysfunctional situations, drug abuse, serious mental health issues. So many of them end up in rehab. Why? Because it was the pursuit of feeling I'm finally going to be better than, I'm finally going to be superhuman, I'm finally going to be recognized and feel like I belong. But when they get to the top, just like when I got to the top, the same fear, insecurities, and deep shame that they feel, the deep self-judgment, deep embarrassment they feel for who they are, isn't solved by the external pursuit or realization of a goal and being in the public eye. In fact, they feel more alone because that thing that was keeping them going, this excitement of being a somebody, hasn't changed the inherent feeling of feeling like a nobody. And then they're confronted with the pain because they're no longer under the illusion or the fantasy that it's going to change by succeeding at that high level. And that's where all the pain comes up, and they try to subside the pain. Like initially they might do more movies, more hit songs, more money if they're, or more like winning more Super Bowls or being an even better player of sport. But then when that stops working, to mask the pain, they turn to drugs or they turn to bulk spending, or so that's what happens. They try to become superhuman as one way to escape the pain of feeling inherently worse than, less than human. And the other form of seeking the relief, which is something that no one consciously intends, but the second way that people with toxic shame attempt to seek relief to the pain of feeling like there's something wrong with them, is by perpetuating the infliction of trauma that they experience to them onto somebody else. And this is one that is very non-politically correct. It may be triggering to hear me explain this, but I promise you it is 100% accurate and backed up by evidence of hundreds and hundreds of people that I've seen, coached, supported. And this is the closeted aspect of shame that people don't understand, pay attention to. And this is the thing that holds people with toxic shame captive, is that the way that they were traumatized, they inflict to other people. They inherit the abusive tendencies, the traumatizing behaviors that happen to them, and they pass it on to others. This happens with sexual abuse, happens with physical abuse, it happens with mental abuse, it happens with very specifically from grandparent, great-grandparent to grandparent to father to son or mother, daughter. It gets inherited through the family. And this is, if someone's sexually abused, it doesn't make any sense for that person consciously, who's had so much pain come from that sexual abuse, to want to pass it on to someone else. It's just consciously no way. Everyone on the planet's well-meaning. Everyone is well-meaning at the core. But a lot of the time, when someone's like hurt people that are hurt inflict pain on others. It's just a law of trauma. And I've seen it over and over again, and I do it. So I had a dad that was incredibly mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, super manipulative, and super controlling. And I copped the brunt of that. I was yelled at for hours and hours daily for years and years and years. And it was the worst years of my whole life. I hated it. I hated it so much. It caused me so much pain. And of course, I don't want to be like my dad, but all my patterns in relationship just do the exact same things. It's the exact same way when I get triggered or when I'm feeling, or when I get triggered, AKA a scenario in my relationship or life makes me feel super dysregulated, and the emotional pain starts to come up. So for example, if I hear someone chewing loud with their mouth open, it really triggers me, because when I was younger, my dad used to smash the table when someone did that. And so for me, there's so much pain associated to those noises. It's an anchor, it's a trigger. And if that happens at the dinner table now, I've actually done a lot of work on that trigger, so I don't get that triggered now. However, just let's pretend I do. If that happens to me and I get triggered, just as an example of one trigger, and I'm got all this pain inside and it's all in me, then to escape that pain of feeling less than, that pain of feeling scared, of feeling less than human, I start becoming manipulative and controlling. I start becoming abusive mentally and emotionally to my partner, who I love dearly, and I don't want to be like that at all. I love her so much. I want to be the best partner in the world. I want to make her feel like the most special woman in the world. But what do I actually do? Start manipulating, judging, controlling. And it's the opposite of what I want to do, but I do it. And I've heard, seen, and unlimited cases of beautiful people that I would meet down the street or I've known for years and connect with, and I love them, that have been sexually abused or physically abused. And then they've ended up doing the exact same behavior to other people. People, like, just imagine me. This hasn't happened, but just imagine I was sexually abused. I wasn't, but let's just imagine I was. And you found out that I had inappropriately touched somebody else. That would be, in society standards, so wrong, disgusting, burn them at the stake. And I haven't done that, and that's not my trauma. I spoke about mine, which is the manipulation, the control, the yelling, that kind of stuff, the aggression, the mentally and emotionally mainly. And I noticed those tendencies that I despise within my dad. I do it. I did it as like a manager when I ran my business. I was really controlling, manipulative, unrealistic standards, all the shit I hated about my dad. And I do it to others. And I do it in my relationship. And I hate that my dad treated my mom like that. And I hate that he treated me like that. And I fucking do it. How does it make any sense? I do not want to do that. It's the last thing I want to do. But I do it because it is inherited. Yeah. And I've done so much healing on it, so I do it less. I'm aware of it and I apologize when I do it. I catch myself when I do it. I'm in the process of supporting the part of me that feels less than human, so I don't do it, but I still do it. I still do it. And that is an example of how trauma is passed down from generation to generation to generation. And when someone's traumatized, they develop toxic shame. When they develop toxic shame, they feel less than human. They try to be superhuman, but they also involuntarily, they don't want to. I do not want to, but they involuntarily inflict the trauma on others that they experience themselves. That's how trauma is passed on. That's how trauma is passed on. When there is so much emotional pain inwards, again, hurt people, hurt other people, hurt people, hurt people. Someone's got so much pain inside. That is shame. Shame inside, it gets blame. Shame creates blame. Internalizing it causes it to get projected out and externalized. And so the shame epidemic, the problem of it is that most of the world, including the Western world, are riddled with shame. But because that shame makes us feel like we don't belong, this is the problem with it. It's a huge problem. It's such a tough problem to solve as well. I'm going to talk about the solution in this episode, but it's such a tough problem to solve because when someone feels less than human and they feel shameful, what does the little kid do when they feel embarrassed? They put their hands over their face and they hide.